We need to have a talk. Apollo and I are getting a divorce. I know it's not going to be easy on you, that you're used to waking up in the morning and filtering by company size and company head count, maybe using some keywords to find good companies, used to downloading that list, uploading it to Outreach, and going home for the day. But we spent a lot of time talking, and we've come to the conclusion that it's just not working anymore. You're going to spend no time with Apollo, and you'll be spending all of your time with me. All right, let's talk about list. Let's talk about the list world and why we love it and why we need to leave it. Love it or list it. We need to list it. And hold on. The reason that the list world is going away is that it's a fundamentally selfish world. It is a world in which you say, these are the companies I want to sell to, not who is right for me now. And there have been solutions that have tried to bolt on an answer to this question, which is list plus signals. If you can find that they're doing this, da-da-da. But really what we're moving into is a world that is empathetic to the customer. And an empathetic world is one in which when something changes, you know about it. You have done the work to know that that associated change is an indicator that they care and they need you. And then you have the wherewithal to go figure out who is the right person, sort of independent of title, who needs you because of that change. And I go back and back and back and back and back to this quote of, we shape our tools and thereafter our tools shape us. And we have been poisoned with this idea of building list. And we need to move to a monitoring world. And intent tried to get us there. It tried to make that switch, but it did it in a black box way. It did it in such a way where it's like, I always go after Adam Robinson online for this, because like one time I'm like, yo, where do you get your data from when you're de-anonymizing people? And he's like, I don't know, man, it's free. That's what he said. Even the founder is like, I don't know where this comes from. It's like, I don't know, it's like cookies or something. And if the provider of the data can't tell you where the data comes from, that means that you have no levers. The emperor has no clothes. So we need to ask a different question, which is to say, if every morning you could wake up and never get tired and spend all day on the internet, what piece of information, what two pieces of information, what three pieces of information would you triangulate to say, this company and this person need me now? And that triangulation, which is like, if these three things are true, means that you have legs to rest on in your messaging. And by the way, that triangulation changes over time. And so we haven't had a tool until Clay came around to be able to orchestrate this. We had to do it with humans, but we have to get away from this list world. And we have to move into a world of autonomously running AI agents. I'm going to be releasing a brand new positioning for my product and my service and what I do to help companies make this transition. And I think in this world, pipeline is not the thing that this solves. Most importantly, pipeline is not the thing this solves, because there are a lot of compounding variables that impact pipeline. Are people sending the messages? Like, are they getting in inboxes? Are they making cold calls? Like, is something changed in the organization? Like, there's all sorts of muck there. But if you're a thoughtful revenue leader with depth, and you have a good relationship with a good SDRA on your team, you will know that they do stuff that is not in the system today, that they are doing manual researching. They're just not sending messages from the CRM. And we need to take that work of the best SDR, the best AE, and not only do we need to eliminate it so that they can be on the phone, we need to democratize that. We need to spread it to the organization. And independent of what those people do with that information, that is valuable. And so when we are trying to transition to this clay world, we need to think about this not as pipeline, not as how do we generate. We need to think about this as how can we slowly carve off the task that the best workers would do, maybe they don't today, would do if they had the time to do it, if they could spend their time doing this. And the list world and the intent world limited our thinking there. It actually created worse thinkers for us because the intent world is buy that thing off the shelf. This is why you see a lot of people selling this stuff. They're like, you don't have to figure out your customers. You don't have to understand them. You don't have to do that research. But in order to control your own destiny, you can't wait for someone to visit your website. You can't keep running ads to the same piece of intent data from G2 or Bumble or it doesn't matter where. You have to know what you care about. And you have to know what you care about, you have to know what your customers care about. And if you know what your customers care about, you have to know where that information appears online to be able to say, I have come to help you. And not to prognosticate too much into the future, $8 word. But the next step of this is actually to deliver value at scale. Now, I'm not going to be selling this, but once you have all of that rich customer information, you know why they're a good fit, you can then deploy an AI agent on top of that and provide them useful information. Not always, but often. And suddenly we have now solved this problem of an SDR modifies a sequence or sends it off in a sequence. And we can actually deliver dynamically useful information at scale to people. But before we do that, we need to build the foundation layer. And the foundation layer is an AI agent layer that is always on, that is always working, and the costs are only coming down. And so this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I'm going to be selling. I am going to work and scope what this looks like for you and your organization. And we're going to build it together. We're going to step forward together. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful Tuesday, December 10th.